So this will be a very interesting presentation, in my opinion, because we are looking at use of ILIAS in Arabic language, so with all the problems of left and right and so on, and also from an important organization like the NATO. So I welcome Professor Bistrekov, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I did it. Professor Bistrekov from the NATO DEEP Academy from Poland, and enjoy the next presentation.
Thank you very much, Roberto. Well, first of all, I'm not a professor yet. And second, you're most probably between the 5 people in the world who can pronounce my last name correctly. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Last year, during the 20th ILIAS conference, the director of the eAcademy, NATO DEEP Academy, Mr. Piotr Gavlicek, presented before you how the eAcademy is using ILIAS to transform education within the new learning environment caused by COVID and the challenges that we had in a couple of years. And as Roberto mentioned, my name is Lyubomir Bistrekov. I have been invited by eAcademy a few months ago to join them and look into some of the challenges that they have and support their efforts. And now I'm going to present before you the progress that has been made in the last year or so in terms of adopting and using the ILIAS for education and training of the Iraqi military forces. I will also share some of the lessons learned that we had with the ADL capacity building program with the Iraqi military education system and conducted by NATO mission in Iraq. So, but before that, I would like to give you some background information about the NATO DEEP. For those of you who are not familiar with this acronym, with this program in general, it was created, I think, 15 years ago. It started under the NATO program, and basically this is the DEEP means Defense Education Enhancement Program, and the idea for this program is to help partners to build and develop and reform their military education institutions. It's directed to the partners, to PFP nations, and not only PFP nations, but partners who are willing to work with NATO. And it has 2 main components. One of them is to provide curriculum development, and the other one is the faculty development. And as you can see, the curriculum development is what to teach. NATO DEEP helps the partners to figure out what needs to be taught and what curriculum they need to develop in order to enhance their education. And faculty development is how to teach, and that help countries to bring together the best techniques, best education methods in order to achieve the goals of the training that needs to be happen. The funding is made mainly through the NATO civil budget, but some NATO countries have made some contributions as well. There are at the moment 16 D programs. You can see the countries that are available at the moment. I believe Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan were among the first ones that joined the program. I think the last one was Colombia. You can see Iraq is there as well. Serbia is very active, and Armenia is very active as well. And basically, the program that is available through DEEP is based on the partnership agreement between these countries and NATO. Each country, each PFP country, each partner country has some sort of agreement with NATO to outline the goals that they need to achieve in the next 5 years or the next 10 years, and part of this is education as well. In the past years, the activities that DEEP is doing is going rapidly up. There are over 2,000 events conducted in the last year. You can see there was a little bit slow development in the 2019, 2020, and everything is going back up in 2021. In the beginning of the program, mobile teams were used mainly. Some of these events are conducted on site, but during the last 2 years, there were a lot of virtual training and virtual meetings, virtual activities as well, and that helped the program to grow and to move on. And you can see some of the educational activities. One of the most important are defense, institution building, civil control of the military. There are some new topics in the last couple of years that are under consideration. Energy security is one of them, cybersecurity, of course, and you can see e-learning is one of the topics in DEEP program as well. DEEP is trying to educate people on how to develop courses on their own in these countries. DEEP has different tools and different ways to certify people who are willing to become e-designers and develop courses on their own. And as you can see, over 3,000 people are involved in this program. And since I mentioned tools, a couple of years ago, not only because of the pandemic, but also because of the need of increasing the education and online training, NATO created ADL knowledge portal, which is also called eAcademy, and this is one of the tools that is used in the last couple of years to exchange knowledge and generate ideas related to distance learning and the popularization of ideas. And this is the portal that we decided to use for the Iraqi e-learning portal as well. The eAcademy has two sections. One of them is, as you can see, maybe here on the top, login to ILIAS and login to the BBB, which is the big blue button. There is a LMS section where all courses are uploaded, and there is a BBB section is the actually video conferencing tool that is used for training as well. How everything started with the Iraqi learning portal. It has been started in 2019 as an example of advanced distributed learning, ADL. Initially, it was hosted by NATO JADL. It is Joint Advanced Distributed Learning. At that time, actually, it was not exactly a portal. It was more like a group containing a couple of courses translated to Arabic in support of the mission, NATO mission to Iraq. There were also a couple of courses that are intended to be used for the Iraqi mission itself, like communication in Iraq, cultural differences and cultural awareness. But the courses in Arabic at that time were just a few. And one of the problems that the NATO was trying to solve at that time was to find a way to give access to people who are willing to take these courses, at the same time with some limitations, like not giving access to people outside NATO was a challenge. So at some point in 2021, the decision has been made to move everything from the JADL portal to the new developed ADL knowledge portal, eAcademy, under NATO DEEP umbrella. Of course, during the transition, some cleaning has been done, which is always happening, which is, in my point of view, always good. Some of the outdated courses were eliminated. Some of the people, not active users, were also deleted. And in September of fall of 2021, eAcademy officially took over the new e-learning portal for the Iraqi military. created the ILIAS-based platform under the eAcademy and started working on adjustments and customization. The other reason that was not possible to have the learning portal under JDL was that lack of ability, lack of Arabic support in this portal. Everything there is in English, so that was another reason to move away from this portal. So all information, all needed information from the JDL has been transferred to the eAcademy servers in the fall of 2021. And at that time, the number of courses that left from the original installation was relatively small. The users were not too many as well. So the decision that the team at the eAcademy made was to create a portal within the portal. So we created as a group within the eAcademy and started to managing everything in this group. I suppose as the number of courses is growing and the number of users is growing, sometime at the end of this year or maybe the beginning of next year, this decision will be re-evaluated. And if there is a need after this assessment, a separate instance just for the Iraqi learning portal will be created. So when the customization started, the first thing that we found is that with the standard language package with ILIAS LMS, that ILIAS LMS is offering is about 50% translated phrases in Arabic. We're talking about the interface of ILIAS. And during the customization process, the remaining language portion of the Arabic language has been translated as well. And at that moment, it's about 99% of the language files are ready in Arabic. I believe the intention of the team, after finish on 100% translation, the files will be uploaded back to the community and made them available to the community, in the ILIAS community as well. Although I would encourage them to do that even now with 99%. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good number, and it's good enough to work with it even now. So the other challenge that the eAcademy had to deal with was that ILIAS doesn't fully support the Arabic version. For example, when you switch to Arabic version, right to left language, it mirrors the entire platform, including the images that you're using in your courses or even your pages or in your groups on ILIAS. I believe this is not very difficult to fix with some changes in the styles and configuration. I already talked with some folks here from Future Learning. They had experience with that in the past, and probably we will work together to figure out if there is a way to avoid that. At the moment, the team at the eAcademy is using some sort of workaround. They do separate pictures and images for each of the languages. So in English, they have the same picture with the right, the left to right support, and for the Arabic version, they have different picture with the same subject. I can actually maybe show you how it looks like. This is the portal, and I am currently logged in as me, obviously, and I'm using the English settings in my profile. And as you can see, the image that has been used for the main page has been flipped. Even the logo downstairs has been flipped as well. If I go to my settings and I change the language to Arabic, then you can see that it has the correct images positioned correctly from left to right for the English speakers. Another thing that has been done during the transition and customization and adjustments of the portal was to create a separate login screen for the Arabic users. As I said, they prepared the images for both languages. There is a separate Arabic and English versions for each of the platforms. And as a result, this is very, very time consuming and requires a lot of efforts from the team to do that twice, actually. That's why we have to look further if there is a possibility to avoid these challenges and resolve these problems. And lastly, specific roles for the people who are going to be members of the Arabic version of the portal have been created, and they are separate from the ones that are we're using for the eAcademy. Obviously, if and when we switch to a separate instance, the roles will be evaluated as well, and they'll be different from the ones that we currently have. The next step of, as I said, this customization started in the fall of 2021, and it was ended sometime at the beginning of January. I believe around 11th of January everything was ready, and the next step was to present this to the officials and take their opinion on that, and start training of the people who are going to use the portal. Training is very important for us, and we are conducting training for the course administrators and the portal administrators twice a year. The first one was just around the launch of the portal, the Iraqi portal. 6 or 8 administrators were trained then, and the second training actually is going right now. It started this Monday and is going through the next week, through the Wednesday of the next week as well. Again, the official launch was on 19th of January 2022. Both NATO Mission to Iraq and the Iraqi Armed Forces leadership were very pleased about the results that have been achieved so far around that time, and they just gave us a green line to move ahead and start with the training and using of the portal. As I said, the first training was conducted in January, and usually the training is done via Zoom or Big Blue Button and some other video conferencing tools, and the trainees receive an overview of the latest software that we are providing, and we give them a chance to practice their skills, and usually by the end of the course they're good enough to work with courses, manage users, create groups. Not all of them are good enough yet to develop their own courses, but that is the end goal, to move towards this solution. eAcademy is also providing additional training on different e-learning techniques, training on micro-learning and multimedia, and some individual training is done as well if there are some specific requests from NATO mission in Iraq or the Iraqi officials. Actually, last week, the other topic that came up was to see if there is a way to work with some of the administrators who are more advanced and who have more e-designer skills and start working with them and allow them to develop the courses on their own. After the training, another topic that was very important was to work with the content. 3 ways considered by the eAcademy and the DEEP on how to develop content for the Iraqi e-learning portal. As you can see here, one of them is to use the blended approach in teaching, where the content such as videos, articles and presentations are loaded in the portal and support the classrooms that are available for the training, for education. The second option that was considered was to translate some of NATO GADL courses. At this point, I can say that only one of the then considered courses was translated. That was Cyber Defense Awareness Training, which is basic training about how to use the computers, how to be careful, and this is mandatory training for everyone who is involved in any way with NATO or US defense programs, civilians or military. 2 other courses were translated into Arabic as well, but will it work online? And yes, it does work online, and the idea behind this content was to give them a general idea what the virtual training is, what e-learning is, and how to use LMS in general, and how to use learning management in their education. 10 more courses are about to be translated in the next couple of months. Some of them have been identified already, but some of them are not. The intention is to have 10 courses in the next couple of months. I might be involved in coordination of this translation and using these courses as well. But at this point, I cannot give you names of the courses. I just know that that's the number that eAcademy is looking into. Again, at this point, we are trying to get the people trained, to get them to learn how to use the system, and eventually to train them to do the things on their own. This, in general, is very important topic for the NATO and NATO mission to Iraq. I hope that ILIAS is not going to... It will continue to support the right-to-left language because we invested a lot of energy and a lot of resources in this project, and we'll continue to try to use this solution for the Iraqi forces and for the NATO mission in Iraq. We are also going to continue improving the look and feel of the site. We will look into the challenges that currently we have. Again, there is a workaround. I don't like workarounds. I prefer to fix the problems instead of going around them. Even though some of the courses or most of the courses that are in use right now are not affected too much by the right-to-left language support because they were done in Articulate, Storyboard, Storyline, RISE. Translate information is going back to the same type of courses. We, at some point, will start using, the course developers will start using the ILIAS authoring tool, and when they go with that, we know there are some challenges, some issues that has to be resolved before we move to this level. So I, again, really hope that ILIAS will continue to support right-to-left language. I hope that if there is somebody out there who has experience with this type of problems, will be willing to work with us, to talk to us, and see if we can work together to continue to support this. And I hope that this project will be successful at the end. Some of the point of contacts here, if in case you want to contact with us and work with us and coordinate or collaborate with us. Piotr Gavlicek is the director of the NATO DEEP eAcademy. Artur is our sister administrator. He's dealing with the servers and installations and plugins and all that kind of stuff. I serve at the moment as an advisor to the Academy, and I'm coordinating a lot of things connected to the Iraqi learning portal, including future translation and development of the new courses. So thank you very much. I'm open for questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you, Lyubomir. Thank you for your presentation. And well, I wanted to ask you something about the Arabic translation. Do you use the standard ILIAS tables to put the words in, or is it a completely different system?
Well, the translation of the language files, as I said, it was about 50%, less than 50% ready to be used at the time when the portal started. At that time, they used file as it is, as a table, and translated manually one by one each of the sentences, which is very time-consuming. That's why it takes almost 3 months, I think. It's not only, the other problem is not just translation. Sometimes you cannot give it to a translator who doesn't know anything about the product. Yeah. You have to be at least a little bit familiar with the things and use the right terms. And that's a challenge for every language, actually, but for Arabic is the challenge as well. For the future, though, we are planning to use We are considering a couple of CAT system, computer-assisted translator tools, and use the general approach, run everything through the CAT, adjust it later, use the translator only to review the materials instead of going through each of the files. That will save a lot of money, a lot of time. Yeah. That's the approach that we're going to use in the future.
Okay, other questions?
Good morning. We spoke yesterday about not sufficient computer skills in Europe. And what's in comparison, that's how it looks like in Iraq. So computer skills on average and the willingness of people, not on general level, but on NCO level maybe, to use computers to learn in ADL system. Thanks.
Well, computer skills in general are average, I would say, above average for most of the people who are assigned to us. I would say it is valid for most of the people as well. The bigger problem that we have is that is lack of good connection and lack of good equipment. In many cases, during these trainings, we have people on their phones. They don't even can put the camera on because that slows down the things, and if the internet connection is not good, it's not good. The training is not good as well. But usually there is a collaboration, communication between NATO mission in Iraq and Iraqi forces. They identify the people who are going to be administrators, because at this point we are training only the administrators. We don't train the end users that they are going to use for their training. So while they're doing this, they put the people who already have some skills needed to be administrator of the portal, to be administrator of the course, or to be administrator of the group. Sometimes, in many cases, those people are going to be teachers in their military academy or the Ministry of Defense. In addition to that, there are people who are already trained to be e-designers, to develop courses. We didn't get to that point yet, but to answer your question, the people we are training, they already are identified with the needed skills and the level that is needed to be computer course administrators. They just need to be familiarized with the portal and the features that the system has.
Okay, another question from Ralph.
Did you give back your version of the language file to the community so that other Arabic institutions could use your first language file for their ILIAS purposes?
Yeah, it was not yet, but as I said, if it was me, I would submit it even 60%. Yeah. I was doing some translation in Bulgarian, and every month I was, improving something, and I will send it back to the community. Every better version out there is better than nothing, or the previous version. So we probably will submit back to the community the next couple of weeks the files that we have for the English language for the interface. Because
this translation has to be done once, and okay, with every version there will be new text and so on. Right. But that's only one-time work. Normally. But usually the new phrases are below at the end of the file. You just have to translate the new phrases, and it's much easier to just translate 100 phrases comparing to 3,000 or so.
Yeah, very good point to have ILIAS as much multilingual as it can be. Any other questions? Okay, so thank you, Mr. Bistrekov.
Thank you.
Thank you for having been at the 21st ILIAS conference. Get a blue one for mails.
Okay.
And I hope you have something analog on your desk.
Thank you very much.
Not all digital.